right, well, I'd like to call the meeting to order. And the first item is the roll call. I'm Marjorie Winters, and we have Jim Morrison, Charlie Haldeman, Don Eaton, Jason Levy, Tom Hugel, and Laura Barkowski. And we have Kevin Kowalski with us, and Amy Simon. And Joe Campolita. I'm sorry, Joe.
All right.
Sorry about that. All right, so we have, an appointment of alternates. Charlie, would you like to sit for our vacancy? All right.
Yes.
The third item on the agenda is new business, receipt of new applications. Tom, do we have any? I think you're muted.
I'm sorry, did I miss something?
No, we're just going on to new business. Do we have any?
No new applications that I know of. No.
All right, then that brings us up to old business. And for the first item, I'm going to turn it over to the chairmanship over to Jim Morrison.
All right. First item of old business, application 20-16, East Weetog Street, H11-106-37, construction of a new gravel parking lot.
I'd like to speak to the fact that we did approve this at our last meeting, but due to a technical defect brought to our attention through the public, that we had a acting commissioner presenting a application before the commission did not meet the state statutes. No changes have been made to the application for the gravel parking lot for the Simsbury Land Trust. If any questions have come up in the meantime between the last approval and this approval, I would like to direct you towards the, I'm sorry, I don't know your name.
Amy Ziner.
Amy Ziner of the Land Trust for any other technical questions or any questions about the project, but no changes have been made to the project as it was approved last time. We're just looking for it to be presented as it was prior and as it was approved. So if you have any questions, please pass those on. Otherwise, you can move forward and entertain the motion as you did at the last meeting.
I'm good to move forward with it. Do we need to go through all three motions?
Yeah.
Just for a technicality.
Okay. A motion that this is a regulated activity as it occurs within an upland review area.
I'll second that.
Seconded by Joe. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion that this is not a significant activity as it's really not going to disturb anything in the wetland and everything is in the upland review area.
I'll second that motion.
Seconded by Joe. All in favor?
Aye.
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 And I motion that we approve the application subject to the standard conditions and any special conditions that may be in the staff report.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. And the application is approved.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. And Jim, would you like to turn over the?
Yes, I'll turn the meeting back over to Marjorie.
Thank you, Jim. And thank you, everyone. So the next item is item 20-17, 251 Hot Meadow Street, Simsbury Fire District, construct a new training building with other improvements and installation of a ceremonial flag burning area. So we have Kevin here with us, Kevin Kowalski. Would you like to present? Oh, sorry.
Marjorie, just for the record, I am across the bike path from this project. I don't believe that it affects my impartiality, and I don't believe there's any reason for me to recuse myself, but let the record reflect that I'm a neighbor.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you actually for letting me come before the board here on this important project. As you all know that over the last 5 years through planning process, et cetera, we've been kind of deluged with town homes in excess of 1,200 with open bay porches and 3 stories high. What we're looking at doing is replicating a building a smaller scale than what we have, actually 1,200 of them currently in town to train our firefighters. In reality, we're asking for a reissue of a permit that ran out 2 years ago. We had an opportunity to get you guys were great enough to give us a permit to do a dry hydrant and a clearing of the brush in the wooded area in the same space, actually. We did not put the dry hydrant in because there was never any water in there. And we didn't feel that it was a very good use of funds to do that. So we continue to use the concrete basin that we have on just north of that project. And this, we kept it back as far as we could to make it worthwhile to work with our existing building to create a streetscape like we have over at the across the street even, and also in the north end, and some that are going to be built in the next year or two. So this is the project that we have. It's kind of a rough sketch map, but you can see the point in which the building is being built, and then to the rear is going to be we're partnering with the VFW to build it's a paver area that we can burn some flags twice, maybe 3 times a year in that area, and it will be a safe area to do it. Right now, it's very difficult for them to do it. They're trying 55-gallon drums and various fire pits and things like that. We believe we can help them, and we'll build a nice, safe fire area for them to do a ceremonial burn with all the flags. It's kind of amazing. They have in excess of 300 flags currently waiting destruction, and they get numerous flags every month being dropped off to them. So that's part of this project that we can accommodate them. So if you notice on the print also that we cut off one of the corners so we wouldn't impact it as much with the pavement. So we brought it back a little bit to facilitate that area. We do want to keep it in this side so that we don't impact the big field for public use. So we stuck it over on this side. And I'll entertain any questions that you may have.
So is there a reason why the stairs are on the side they are and not on the opposite side?
It was just,
if
if you look at the actual design of the building, we have a garage door because that's the design of these townhouses, that they have garage doors on where they park their cars. So we wanted to replicate that. And for us to put the garage door on the opposite side, we felt that we'd get more use out of coming in from the other asphalt pavement side, that we have the concrete basin there that's covered, and we can use that space without adding more asphalt. So it was a more workable solution. But certainly, we could look at the stairways going to the other side, but the impact of the garage would be stuffed into the wooded area there, and we'd have to extend the asphalt a little bit.
And could the building be pulled up a little further, which direction, away from the wetlands? Is there a possibility it could be pulled away so that there isn't the asphalt?
Well, we could align it. We could align it with the existing building. We just didn't want to get too close again to our test pit, the concrete vault that's got water in it. We kind of squeeze it in. If in our committee, course, they all wanted to have a lot more asphalt, and
Yeah.
we reduced it substantially from what, what the wishes were. So we didn't impact the wetlands as much. So that's one of the things. If you look at that area, it's really, arguably woods or brush is what's there. And we want to maintain a barrier there also, the trees in some of the areas and the stuff that's there, so it doesn't impact our neighbors. So, we have to be careful of that. And if we need to move it 5 feet towards a concrete basin, I guess we could look at doing that.
Hey, Kevin, can I just clarify one point here on the?
Sure,
I'm looking
Jim.
at the map.
Mhm.
Here is the dashed line where it says woods. Is that the line, the wetlands line?
Yes, I
That
believe
is.
so.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe it is. Yeah. If you see the little sketch on the left that says dry hydrant, that's where we were allowed to dig up that space and put a pipe in and put a suction line in, which we didn't do. I left it on there purposely because that's what we were allowed to do 5 years ago. And we wanted to see if we can, kind of extend the work area where we were going to be doing this.
Right.
I'm just wondering if there's any way you could pull it out of the wetland area. It's the wooded. I'm looking at the overhead shot, with the trees.
Yep.
So I don't see any woods in that area where you want to extend the concrete pad.
No, the concrete that's there is a tank. It's an underground tank.
The asphalt pad, I'm sorry.
Oh, the asphalt pad. Yeah, but
No trees
let me
there.
see if I can get to that. Hold on. Yeah, this represents the size of the space, and then we're going around we're staying inside the tree line.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to clean out a lot of that brush that's in there. I suppose we could. This right now, we really want to match the building line here. The front of the building, I wish I was there. It's tough trying to use a pointer when you can't see it, but align the old building with the new building. And we might be able to pull it a little bit further towards the baseball field, I guess.
And on the map, there is a rectangle that says CONC. What is that?
Rectangle says CLMP.
CONC. I think it says CONC.
Oh no, that's concrete.
Okay.
That's a water holding tank that we do our suction testing. So we test all the engines on that. We suck water out of that tank. It's a water tank.
Okay.
It's essentially a 3,000 gallon underground water tank.
Yeah.
That's all asphalt. So what we were doing is using that piece of asphalt so that we didn't have to increase our asphalt for our garage door that's on that side. Yeah, that's a concrete test tank.
Okay.
And if you go up to the top of it, you'll see like a little rectangle. And what that does, that's a catchment, and that catches the water stream that goes that comes from the truck, and then we recover the water. It runs back into the tank while we can still keep pumping it and use the existing water and not take from the hydrant all the time.
Hey, when I look at the aerial image that's in your application,
Yep.
it looks like the black line is going to be the edge of the new building on there, right?
The black square is. It's not that. Yeah, it's not that.
Really.
The black line, it represents the parking area, or not parking, I shouldn't say that, the asphalt area. That's where we're going to have our, be able to throw ladders and work around it.
Oh, okay. I understand.
See, the whole idea of this thing is we have to be able to ladder this using straight ladders versus our ladder truck on all sides of the building, because that's what we're faced with on these apartment buildings. We have some of the apartment buildings we can't get to with a ladder truck.
Okay, and that's why the pavement is as big as it is, and it can't.
Correct, so that we can stretch ladders and run hose lines over there. Otherwise, it would be on the grass and mud. End up with a lot of mud.
Okay. I was saying is from the aerial, then it looks like the edge of the pavement is doesn't really go into the trees. Is that right?
That was, yes, because we're trying to align it with the you can see the pavement on the bottom. That's that concrete tank I was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
We're running that line straight across, and then we cut it off so we didn't go into that too far, I should say. And then we're coming back to the pavement again. So we cut the corner off so we didn't impact that space as much.
Are there any trees that need to be removed?
I'm sure there is some trees, very few right here, because we want to maintain that buffer between us and the homes and the walking path. We want to maintain the buffer as much as possible. There, we have good neighbors, and we want to keep them.
And this is a question for Tom Hazel. Is this wetlands, has it been soil tested, or is this from the air photos? This is on the town wetlands map.
I researched a couple of things. I don't know where the SketchUp plan came from, but looking on the federal and the DEP wetlands, it tends to be on the other side of the wetland soils. Tend to be on the other side of the walking trail. However, they're, as Mr. Kowalski said, they put in a dry hydrant, but there hasn't been water. There happened to be a drainage topography off of the ball fields to the north. They kind of funneled water down past the fire station towards Russell Brook, but I haven't been on the ground to see if there is any standing water. But if they didn't put in the dry hydrant, I would think that would be unfeasible water feature, because a dry hydrant would need constant water in order to draw from. You do get some of that on some older aerials, but when those aerials were taken is dependent on the time of year. The engineered drawing that Mr. Kowalski is drawing off of here shows some delineation on that. I would say there would be minimal impact. I don't see a direct water feature. If the dry hydrant couldn't be supported, I would say that it's probably seasonal at a maximum. To my knowledge, there has been no data digitally that I can see of a vernal pool or anything along that sort.
Yeah, I was thinking more of soil testing.
I don't know of any soil testing at this point from the plans. It's a little bit still new for me, unfortunately.
Yeah. No, I just think I know a lot of our town maps, they often have to be verified by the soil testing to see whether or not there is indeed the wetland there. And
I pulled the town site. The town site shows some sort of feature. I pulled the DEP site that showed no feature. I pulled the federal site that showed no features of soil, and then I'm going off of what Mr. Kowalski provided us, and I don't have the data for this map. I just have the 8.5 by 11 that everybody else has.
This I can give the full map. This is actually the same map that we submitted for the dry hydrant back 7 years ago for permit to put the dry hydrant in through you folks. And this is the map that we use to put the buildings on the site that we currently have. So that's the one that I was going based on. And that's why we're trying to carve it out, the best we could on that side. And just to go back to the tree issue, is there will be some clearing of brush, and there may be a couple trees that we're going to have to take. But that will be again, that will be to a minimum because we want to keep the buffer. So that would mean that we want to stay out of that area for the most part.
Mm.
So Tom, this is Charlie. Is the question before us, that it looks like in the dashed lines that there's, unlike the dry hydrant before, we're actually into the wetlands here. Is one of the concerns is how much will the wetland soils be disturbed when we actually put the pavement in? And when this as the second one, the drainage off the pavement into the wetland soils, is that a second concern also at this point?
Just as a point, if I may add, the dry hydrant was very evasive into this space. We were going to be digging with an excavator in there to put this pipe underground all the way to the center of what supposedly was the pool, and we just never got any water. So that's the reason why we didn't do it. I mean, we were good enough to get you folks to give us the permit to do it, but it was on the arrangement that if we didn't find water, then we wouldn't do it, and we wouldn't start digging in there probing to do it. So and we weren't in the business to making a pond, and that's not what we're trying to do. What we're going to try to do is keep as close as we can, to this, and not obviously encroach any more than we are in this space. So I just as a point of interest, to clarify.
Yeah, generally, we regulate things in the upland review area. We try not to have things in the actual wetland. But the reason I was asking the questions about the soil is whether or not it is indeed a wetland, because it's all based on the soils and wetland soil characteristics. And a lot of our some of our town wetland maps are based on air photo interpretation, and they need to be ground truth, with these soil holes. How many feet of wetland? How far into that? I'm trying to figure the scale here. Is it about 10 feet into the wetlands?
Yeah, approximately 10 to 15 feet. Yep.
But if a few soil tests would say whether or not it was in the wetlands at all.
I think Charlie had a good point too about the runoff going straight into the wetland. Is that
no,
the plan?
that's not going to be the intent. We're going to do sheet drainage towards the existing building.
Okay.
And then so it'll be pitched towards the existing building.
Yeah.
And then
so on all sides, it'll drain that way.
Yeah.
And about how thick will the pavement have to be to support the big trucks? Like, I mean, how much?
It'll have to be pretty substantial. I will tell you, as part of our improvement, and that's the other reason why we want to press on with the project, is because all this area between the existing building and the new building is scheduled for being repaved. So what we want to do is we want to cut this out first and include it with the paving project, so it'll all be one piece. And if we need to, we'll put catch basins in to collect the water there, and we'll divert it to another spot if we need to put drainage in. And that may be the case.
Yeah. So about how thick is this kind of pavement? I mean, how much material you talk about removing?
I think, no, it'll be ground, and no doubt this will be ground and then repaved.
Okay.
It won't be put on top because the cracks just transfer.
Yeah. No. I actually meant for the new area where you're putting in the new pavement.
It'll be the same height as the existing, other than the sheet drainage coming towards the existing building.
Right. So about how thick is that pavement?
4 inches.
4 inches. Okay. So we're talking about, removing 4 to 6 inches of soil to do the paving work.
Right. Well, obviously we're going to have to put stone down.
Okay. Okay.
And then do the build up on the surface, compact it, and then put the asphalt on top of it so it aligns with the existing paving that we have now. but new.
Okay. Okay.
How and how much is the grade gonna need to be brought up?
I believe the grade right now, if you see it, it's already up about a foot. The distance of it goes from 174 to the corner down to 173, and then it goes to 172. So there's already a fairly good grade from the wetlands area to the existing building.
I'm sorry. So it's higher. It's going to be higher at the edge of the wetlands.
No, the existing wetlands is actually higher than our pavement right now on the existing building.
Tom, would you be able to get out there for a site visit?
I'll be in the office tomorrow and Friday. It's certainly available, that's for sure. It's been kind of on the docket, but due to some of the holidays and our restrictions and some trainings that have been going on, it's been difficult to get out in the field. But I can certainly get out there. That's not an issue for me.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I know that there's no staff report for this, and you haven't seen the property.
It's been difficult, like I said, but I was hoping it was more of a familiar project for some people. Unfortunately, I just haven't had a chance. I apologize for that.
Jim, are you thinking that if we get out there and look at it, and we can prove to ourselves that's not a wetland that's in the upland review area, that a lot of these problems go away?
Yeah. That's right. My concern, I mean, just that we're showing it being, constructed in a wetland.
Right.
And I feel like there's some real basic facts that we just don't have.
And I'm seeing the topography on this, and we're fairly flat. We're running 173, 174s, 173s through the whole area. So, I mean, soil type, yeah, I don't, I'm not walking around with an auger. And I'm not a licensed soil scientist, but I can give you some views and some photographs and give you my insight. I mean, that's for sure, and look for vegetative indicators in that. I think from a wetland standpoint, with a paved area, I think with the way that this is going to be used, you guys are probably looking more at what their proposed runoff issues are going to be after the fact that there is or isn't impact to a direct wetland. Am I correct on that?
Yeah, I'd also like to say that, we're not building in a wetland. I mean, it's not a big area. It's not, it's not a significant impact, but, just a couple of soil holes in the area to see if we've done any modeling. I mean, I would just put it on, that would, I don't think it's probably a wetland looking at the, the overhead and the topography lines here.
And like I said, like the federal and the state are not.
You don't have it.
What we're seeing here, but I'd like to, if I can provide you photographs that would give you some kind of insight and try to get you some kind of reporting on what I see.
Yeah.
And you are all always welcome out. It's a town property. You guys are always welcome to go visit.
Absolutely.
It's not something that you're restricted from doing. You can make your own assessment if you would like, but I would be happy to report on it. From what I was seeing, it seems to be a topographical anomaly, and what I'm seeing is the topography doesn't really give much relief to holding water. It's within a foot or two. I mean, the bottom of what I'm seeing from topography wise goes down to 172, and the building that is erected is sitting at 171.
It looks like there would be the wetland.
So the proposed building, it's 173.
Yeah.
So you're kind of going up over a ridge and down a ridge by a foot. Yeah. So
yeah, and I think it's important to get that ground truth.
If you'd like it, we can revisit it. I mean, we have to have a meeting next month anyway. I'm going to come to you with new regulations, so let's.
Oh, good. And I think if it's, if there is a topographic high there, if there is some space between the wetlands, then, the next thing to think about is, is what does an appropriate buffer look like between the wetlands and the edge of the pavement.
I can get you those answers ASAP, and I'm looking at the 2021 calendar. I don't have the other calendar in front of me, but it would be just a couple of weeks, and I think if that's the commission's want, I can ground truth it and come back to you with whatever information I have. And Kevin, is that acceptable for timelines, or do you need any special meetings or anything?
No, I mean,
work through
no,
that.
I certainly no special meeting. I guess the question is the challenge here, if we were to move the building more towards the concrete tank, let's just say, right? We would lose some training space on the other side. It would be about 30 feet, but then we could move that pavement line. See, what we're trying to do is, if you see the stairs on the sketch, and if you look at go to the bottom corner of the stairs and go directly down to where the thick black line intersects with the existing pavement. I don't know if you can tell.
Yeah.
Right there is a fire hydrant. That's that we were going to be putting in the essentially in the asphalt. So I guess if we were to make the line move over to where the topo line is, we could move it closer by another 5 to 10 feet from the wetlands, then we could pull that off. Would that be acceptable without a delay, or you still want to head out there?
So nothing would be in the wetland?
Well, I guess that dotted line, we would try to keep it, I'd like to square it off somehow. I don't want to make a rounded line. If we crept in, we would move the building over maybe 10 feet. So that would move the stairs over 10 feet. So that would move the line over 10 feet. The only thing we would do is make maybe a jog for the hydrant there.
See, I'm wondering whether it is really a wetland, in which case it's not a problem to keep everything the way it is. Just
right.
Soil pits would determine whether or not, and you wouldn't have to change your plan.
Well, I'll guarantee you where we're drawing the line right there, and I've been attached to this space for 47 years. There's been no water there, other than what we've sprayed.
If I may make a point, I understand the fire department's view of the wetland, but we're going to be based on dirt, so it doesn't matter if it's wet or dry.
Yeah.
Right.
But in the proposal for the concrete holding tank that you're suctioning out of and draining back for training or testing of the vehicles, could the building be proposed to be closer to that concrete tank by? Yeah, I don't have the scale on your map, so I don't know how deep you're into the wetlands and how far towards. If I'm thinking of this right, it looks easterly. I don't have a marker on here, but towards the concrete tank. Say if that was 5 feet or 10 feet into the wetlands, could the building be shifted a little bit? I know you're trying to keep it behind the existing building, but it seems like you do have a little bit of wiggle room over there. Would that be a possibility?
Yeah, we might be able to move it towards the concrete building 5 or 10 feet, and arguably that would pretty much take it out of the wetland space.
I think with the review of the ground and maybe me and Mr. Kowalski having a conversation about the shift a little bit, that we might be able to meet this for the next possible meeting with some adjustment and some ground truthing that meet the commission's requests, or am I?
And if you go out and you find that there is no modeling, I know you're not a soil scientist, but you know how to detect.
Yeah. I used
If
to have
you
an
don't find any
office-
modeling, I would imagine there's a lot of moved soil around there. There might be a lot.
Yeah,
Of,
No, I think it'll be fairly apparent
yeah.
by the topography and by the vegetation. I don't even know if the soils will necessarily need to be too disturbed to find it out. But
Shallow the hole. But I think that's what. And I had a question about will you just be using water for training purposes? No foams or anything like that?
no,
Okay.
no, especially not now. I mean, historically, we didn't want to use foam because it costs too much. And it was very costly, even over the years, even the legacy foam. Was
please,
just
no please no PFAS. I came from
No,
Windsor. We don't need
no.
any more of that.
no, there won't be. We don't. Ours is secured, and it's I sit on the state fire commission where we're trying to resolve that issue on a state level to try to get all these other communities to get picked up the PFAS foam, picked up the legacy foam, and even the gold. So we've been monitoring the committee's work with DEP, and they've been moving along pretty well. We're trying to get the state to come up with a grant to collect all this foam. We thought we had it made, and the downside happened where the company that was going to pick it up, the state said, you're not burning it here. So we're in a bit of a stymied point. So we're working on it, and they're doing a great job coming up with a plan.
Good.
All right. So will we defer this meeting to the next? Further.
Yeah, I think we have a scheduled meeting for the beginning of December, and if you would like to revisit it, we can do that. And I will work closely with Mr. Kowalski, and we'll try to get our plans set down concrete, and I'll do some ground truthing and have a full detailed report for the next meeting, if that's okay with everybody, including Mr. Kowalski, and then
Sure.
we'll try to get this forwarded as fast as we can.
You let me know. We can, I can meet you there, and I can show you where we can. In fact, we'll probably go out and stake it out prior. We're scheduled to do that anyhow. And to go, there is a question here, and we're getting a lot of donated goods for the VFW pad. Is there any problem with that in particular? I know this is all one application, and I'm just, if we have the ability to get pavers and stone and put them down, is that an issue with you folks for us to do that, or should we wait?
If I may raise one question for the commission through Mr. Kowalski's question about that VFW pad, are you going to have to do any grading or soil disturbance for that?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, what our plans are to essentially scoop out roughly 6 inches of soils and put down stone and pavers, brick pavers.
Well, this is one application. Would the commission want to split it into two and try to take a stab at the VFW flag burning pad separate from this townhouse training facility?
I don't have any objection to that.
And I just had one question. The 6 inches of soil that you're going to take out, you're going to take off site or spread somewhere else up?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand that.
The 6 inches of soil that you're going to excavate for the flag, for the VFW area.
Yep.
Yeah, where are you going to put it?
The material?
The excavated material.
I'm thinking that the contractor that donates will just cart it away.
Sure.
It's topsoil. That's, the only thing that's there, and the grass.
Okay.
We just need to have some stable surface.
Sure. No, I
With
just
the
wanted
stone
to
down,
Okay. Yes. So do the commissioners want to break it up into two and approve the VFW pad? Do you have any questions on that?
Sure, I think that's
Yep.
reasonable.
I'm fine with that.
Thank you.
So I'd entertain a motion for the approval of the VFW flag burning pad.
I'll motion that we break off the VFW pad flag burning area.
All right.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Now, would you like to make the three motions for the pad?
I'll motion that we find that this is a regulated activity as it occurs in the upland review area.
I'll
Second.
second that.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'll motion that we find that this is not a significant activity as will not be disturbing any of the wetlands and any grading will be minimal and any soil being removed will be carted away.
I'll second that.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'll motion that we approve this application subject to the standard conditions and the condition that anything removed is in fact carted away from the site.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, and do we need a motion to table this until the next? We don't table very much.
Yeah, we do.
Right, do we, I'd entertain a motion to table this application from the next meeting?
Yeah, I'll make the motion that we table the remainder of this application to our next Conservation Commission meeting.
Thank you, Joe. You have a
Second.
second?
Second.
Charlie, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Thank you very much, Kevin. We'll see you next month.
Thank you. Yeah, do we believe it's going to be next month? I'm just trying to understand the rest of the commissions.
Kevin, at this point, you and I, let's try to arrange something at your earliest convenience. I'm in Wednesday and Friday of this week, and we could review, or if you want to get to it prior to Thanksgiving next week, we could try that. I don't know what your schedule is, but you have my email. We'll set up a meeting. We'll go over the townhouse part of it.
Mhm.
The flag burn area is approved at this
Yep.
point.
Thank you.
And, let's just touch base and we'll move forward.
Okay, thanks, Tom.
No
Thank you,
problem.
everyone,
Thank
for
you.
your consideration.
All right, the next item is general commission business, approval of minutes for October 20th.
Yeah, I make the motion that we approve the minutes from our last meeting.
Second.
Do we have any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. And the approval of the 2021 annual meeting schedule.
I'd just like to speak up real quick. Running through it, I tried to follow the previous year's schedule, giving a break for the first meeting in August. August, September, October, November. September I gave off because we'll be falling on Rosh Hashanah. And then November, because it falls in the election week and we don't want to have to, we typically try to stay out of that area so that people have time to vote. And then December, we have a secondary meeting on the third Tuesday that falls into the Christmas week, but that's been held. I would assume that our business will probably be kind of light there so that it shouldn't be an issue. It is 3 days away from the Christmas holiday, so I held the schedule as normal as I saw it throughout the last 2 years. So if anybody has any comments about the scheduling or anything I may have missed for a religious holiday or a conflict, by all means, let me know.
Comments? All right, we have a motion to approve the 2021 annual meeting schedule.
I move we approve the 2021 mini schedule.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Right. And agent action? If you-
I haven't had anything. It's been pretty quiet. The pools have slowed down, thank the Lord. It was one heck of a year. They're still trying to push them in. They're still thinking they're going to dig frosty soil, but no, everything seems to be quieted down quite a bit. So I've been very happy to have had my 9 months with you, and let's close out the year on a good note.
Sounds good.
Thank you. And correspondence. Does anyone have anything that they want to bring up? All right. Well, then that brings us to the last one. And before we adjourn, I want to wish you all a happy Thanksgiving. And healthy
Thank you as well.
Thanksgiving.
Thank
Right,
you.
great. So do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
And we have a second?